Restore Thrive, we're back and we're talking strength basics today, guys. And the reason we want to talk about this is because so many of us like to jump into the gym and start using the chest press, bench press, dumbbell press, all sorts of really good but challenging exercises. And one of the things we see is that a lot of times people skip the basics. And when you skip the basics, you end up creating some holes in your game in terms of how you're able to do some of the higher level exercises. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the plank and how we use that as an assessment, but also as a base level exercise to get you strong for any sort of pressing. So what we want to see when we're in the plank is an extension of what we talk about with good posture when we're standing, which is essentially that we're in a straight line from our ears, through our hips, and through our ankles, that we don't see any sort of sway in our back, or we're overextended or arched through our back, and also we're not rounded as well. When our arms get out in front of us, we should be able to keep that shape that we have in standing. Our spine should stay straight, and our shoulders should help create stability by creating torque to hold everything in place. So what you're going to see is just two simple ways to do this. The first one is a plank on hands. And the important thing here is, again, creating that torque in your setup to hold that spine position downstream. So what we'll do is just get into a basic hands and knees position. Your hands can be anywhere from shoulder width to wider, maybe a little bit narrower. It really doesn't matter, because the main thing is that we create that stability through our shoulders. We're going to step back from here. We want to get your feet together. That allows you to squeeze your butt maximally. The wider your feet are apart, the harder it is to squeeze your butt. Remember, your butt sets pelvis position, and that helps you set a stable low back position as well. So feet together, squeeze your butt. When you come forward up to your toes, your hands should be under your chest. Your eyes should be looking between your hands. And if I look down at my elbows, the pits of my elbows should be pointed forward. They should not be turned in towards each other and my back of my elbows flared out. When I'm in this position, I'm rounding my shoulders forward and hanging on the meat of my shoulders. I'm not using those external rotators, which keep my shoulders set in a good position. So make sure, again, when we get into this position, don't let those elbows flare out. We want to get those elbows spun forward. Now, another way that we can test this is we can get you in the rings, and we can get you into what we call a ring plank. And so if we take that same example or archetype of stable shoulder being a turned out or rotated out position in the rings, we should see the rings stay at a 1 o'clock and an 11 o'clock position when I get into this plank here. So I should still be able to keep myself in a straight line. The rings should be turned out. The pits of my elbows are pointed forward. And I'm good and stable right here. If I start to sag through my back, I can still kind of manage these rings for a while, but my shoulders are going to start to give, and the dead giveaway in the rings is when they point towards each other when you're in that plank position. That's a sign of somebody who's using just that passive stability they have through the front of the shoulder joint to create stability. They're not using the active stability of the strength and the musculature around their shoulders to hold themselves in good position. So give this a try at home. Make sure you can maintain that stable plank position. You should be able to hold that for at least 30 seconds, if not a minute. When you get in the rings, it gets a little more challenging, but again, that's a base level exercise that if you layer into your exercise program, will carry over to every other pressing exercise that you do. Give that a try at home. Let us know what you guys think. We'll talk to you again soon.